Welcome to another edition of the Kaufman Corner podcast. With you, as always, David Lesky from Inside the Crown. Soren Petro with you. Les Norman, the technical wall. We could have brought you Les Norman today, but somehow he was going to be like this green monster. And, you know, if you're catching us via the podcast, you're like, well, I don't ever even see him anyway. But if you're on the live stream, you're like, what, is Les sick? Do we need to send somebody over there? He definitely had a green hue to him today. So we'll get that figured out. Les will be back with us next week. So you're stuck with just me and David. We will talk about Jac Caglianone. What can he do for this team being the big league club this year? How much can he alone help the Royals' offensive problems? Who gets sent down when he does get the call? We'll talk about that here on the Kaufman Corner podcast. What's the upside now for Noah Cameron? He continues to absolutely dominate, doing things that only one other pitcher ever. By the way, the name, who is the other pitcher, might not instill you with a lot of confidence, but it's still an incredible start. 4 straight games, over 6 innings, 1 run or less. What does that mean for Noah Cameron? Can he still be this effective all the time? Not this effective, but really effective without striking guys out. We will talk about that. John Rave gets his first hit with pitching this good. Are the Royals pretty much obligated to buy at the deadline? They've got the series with the Tigers coming up. How important is that series with the Detroit Tigers? We talk about it right here, right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by David Lesky, Les Norman, and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Les Norman is a former Royals outfielder. He's the host of Breaking the Norm with Les Norman on Sports Radio 810 WHB, as well as the author of Teaching the Tools of Hitting. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by David Starnes Allstate Insurance, covering all the important things in your world. Home, business, life, and even the fun stuff as well. Motorcycle, boat, ATV, you name it, get with Dave and he'll have you covered. Give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. Don't put those insurance needs off any longer. Get with Dave today. He'll give you peace of mind for the things in your life most important to you. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky, Les Norman, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running here on the Kaufman Corner podcast. David Lesky, Soren Petro with you, talking about the Kansas City Royals. They got a win as we sit here. Remember, you can catch us live if you're bringing us to you. If you're getting us here on the podcast, we're live 8:30 a.m. on Thursday mornings. Royals have beaten the Reds, salvaged a win, David, against the Reds in this one, and yet all the topics around the Kansas City Royals continue to be about Jac Caglianone, the incredible week that he had, first week he had in AAA. I know Stephen St. John from my radio station went all the way up to Omaha to sit down and talk to Jac Caglianone. Great stuff from him. Talked to Rusty Kuntz, a lot of folks there in the organization, because he's a big deal. Over 5 with 3 strikeouts, comes back with 3 hits last night as we sit here. That would have been Wednesday if you're catching us later in the week. I guess to me, the bigger question is what does Caglianone do for this team this year? What can the big league club expect to get from Jac Caglianone whenever they give him the call up?
Yeah, I mean, you never know with a rookie, right? Like it's just guys don't follow a path that you expect all the time. But let me ask you, what do you think it's reasonable if he comes up to the majors? Let's say there's 80 games to go, which is roughly around my June 24th date that I've said for a while. If he puts up a 9.5% walk rate, 28.7% strikeout rate, a homer every 4 games or so, a 270 to 280 ISO, would that surprise you at all?
Give me the numbers again.
It's a 9.5 walk rate, almost 29% strikeout rate, a homer every 4 games, and a 270, 280 ISO.
Yeah, no.
That's Ryan Howard. That was Ryan Howard's rookie year.
Okay.
88 games, 22 homers, 9.5% walk rate. Now, the difference was Ryan Howard didn't chase. So he struck out without chasing out of the zone, and Caglianone has a really high chase rate. But I think that if you're looking for a ceiling of what he can do, and Howard was 25. I don't think he was quite the maybe I'm misremembering. I don't think he was the prospect pedigree that that Caglianone is. Not too far off, obviously, but that I was looking at that yesterday, and I'm going, oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I feel like that's doable. It's a very high ceiling, but it's a ceiling for him. But I think the biggest thing, and I think he chases, but I think he's going to walk, because I think he's going to start hitting 5th or 6th with no protection behind him. So why would a pitcher throw to him? And he will take occasionally. It's not like he chases pitches he thinks he can hit. I don't think he's got the same chase issues that like Salvador Perez has, where he just swings at everything. I think that Caglianone just can hit a lot of pitches because he has exceptional plate coverage. But so I think he'll work the walks a little bit. But I mean, that's kind of what he can provide for the lineup is an actual scary bat, because right now there's not a scary bat. I mean, the best hitter on the team right now is Maikel Garcia. You're not scared of him. It's not like he will beat you. I'm not saying that the pitcher shouldn't work carefully with him, but it's Garcia and Witt, and right now neither one terrifies you. Witt should eventually get back on track and scare pitchers, but nobody else scares them. And so, you know, that I think that he can at worst just lengthen the lineup.
Yeah. And good news, the technical bug that Les was working on, he's gotten figured out. So he joins us here. Better late than never, Les.
This is the technical bug.
Yeah. Not so much. But what do you think? What can Jac Caglianone bring to this team this year? Like, you know, not putting too much. You know, I thought Sam McDowell had a great point when we were talking about this on Tuesday. He said, you know, listen, there's a couple things here. There's one, when is the prospect completely ready? And when is the prospect better than what the Royals have? Well, we're already at he's better than what they have. He's not completely done. I liken it to baking a cake. Like, if you're starving to death, you don't need the last 5 minutes of the bake to, you know, for the cake to be perfect. You need to eat now. And there's a bit of a level here where the Royals offense needs to eat right now, even though he might not quite be done, might not be the perfect cake you want to display for the birthday party at the center of the table and take a photo with. He might be good enough right now to make this offense better, to nourish the offensive body that is the Kansas City Royals. I mean, whenever they do make the call right now this year, what do you expect him to be able to add to this team?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'm not sure that he has anything left to prove. I mean, first and foremost, it gives you kind of a refresher and an upbeat. And I know this game is so physical, it's so mental, but it's also emotional. And sometimes just a shot in the arm is what you need. I mean, this isn't a guy from the minor leagues that nobody knows. He spent a lot of major league camp with them, so he has relationships built up already. He's earned some of the trust of the coaches. He's earned trust of the players. They know he can handle it, and I'm sure you guys talked about this. This isn't a savior complex. He's not going to come up and all of a sudden the Royals are going to be, you know, eclipse the Tigers in first place and go on a 30-game winning streak. But he needs to be able to come up and just give them that shot in the arm that they need. And sometimes that's all it takes. Now, look, the Tigers are good. We're going to talk about that series coming up. And he's not going to come up and magically win. Well, he might, but, you know, the expectations to be heaped on him would be a big mistake. It didn't work with Alex Gordon early in his career. It didn't work with other guys. So just that shot in the arm, just to be able to hit the ball hard. And here's one thing I'll end the point with. The one thing about Jack that I watch him hit is he doesn't pull off balls. He stays on changeups. He focuses on contact and lets his power take care of itself. And a lot of the hitters in the Royals lineup right now don't do that. So maybe that'll be somebody. I mean, Jac Caglianone, in a weird way, could maybe, it's a strong statement, but he could save Zumwalt's job if they end up continuing to slide off offensively and they're looking to make a replacement for him. So just the fact of what he brings talent-wise, calm-wise, maturity-wise could be the shot in the arm this Royals offense needs.
You know, that's interesting that you brought that up, because I hadn't connected that dots. You know, saving Alex Zumwalt's job, which would mean that he's in trouble, which I think I don't know that I feel that. I think there should be that, because there's been MJ Melendez has not clicked. I mean, we're seeing a little better from Kyle Isbell, but even that on-base percentage is sliding back down to kind of what its norm has been. Maikel Garcia is a success story. Bobby Witt hasn't taken off yet. We know he's still very good. and we know he's going to take off, but Salvi's not hitting. Vinny Pasquantino struggled. All the reasons we've talked about many times about it. You mentioned him. Yeah, if Caglianone clicks with him and is a success, that probably will be all pressure off him. But what if he doesn't click? What if he doesn't hit, David? Could this be the final nail in the coffin? Or at least if it's not, some people, they think this should be a conversation. And we've talked about not trying to get the guy fired. Maybe he's just reassigned. You send him back down to the minor leagues where maybe he's had more success as a roving hitting instructor. But if it doesn't work, if they make the decision that Jac Caglianone's ready to come up and he's not productive at the big league level after he's been rocketing through the system, this is going to reflect quite negatively, I would think, for Alex Zumwalt.
Yeah, it probably does. And funny, because I completely agree with you, Les, that he could save Zumwalt's job, which is ironic because the player Zumwalt probably had the least influence on would be the guy who saves his job potentially. So there's that. There are a couple of things at play here. One, I've heard this less this year than I have in the past, but in the last few years, we've heard so much about how the gap between AAA and the majors is bigger than ever. And again, I haven't heard that so much this year. Maybe it's because there haven't been a lot of top prospects up and down, and they started in the big leagues to start the year and all that. But there is that aspect that it's the biggest jump you can make. There have been times in the past that you've heard, AA to AAA is the biggest jump. That's not the case anymore. And so I think if he struggles, it probably doesn't necessarily reflect that poorly on Alex Zumwalt, but with his struggles combined with everybody else's struggles, well, now you're talking about that. That is something. And that is, look, even the best hitting prospect in the minor, one of the top, I think he's like the 5th best offensive prospect in the minors. Even that guy can't hit at the big league level. So I do think that it would probably be that final nail in the coffin, but ironically, it shouldn't be. If it's the final nail, that nail should have already been in there. And if he does save his job, he probably shouldn't be the one to save his job either. But hey, it's a lot to put on the guy's shoulders. But he's got big shoulders, so maybe he can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, who goes down? Let's look at that. If you were to call Caglianone right now, who gets pushed out?
Yeah, it's a great call. Right now, I was looking through the roster. Right now, I mean, Waters has proven himself. I think that he's been fairly consistent. I mean, he's not a world beater, but he's still staying in that 270 to 280 mark and giving you some good at bats and get some hits every now and then. So at least right now, it's going to be probably Rave or Lofton. I mean, these guys, I believe, have options. I know Rave does, and so we'll talk about Rave again coming up, but those seem like one of the only two. They're kind of fillers right now. I mean, they're better answers than what we had. I mean, it was the nightmare of the corner outfield, and now those guys are playing along with Drew Waters in those corner positions. So it's got to be one of those two guys. I don't see really any other. I mean, the only other thing that would come to mind, that's what I was going to say. The other thing that comes to mind is Michael Massey, who it's almost like he gets on the brink of, okay, man, you got to go down, time to get some seasoning, work on your swing. He's still a lot of arm swing. I still see way too many pop-ups and fly balls in this kid. He's not a home run hitter. He's a good second baseman, but he'll keep a good hitter. I believe in myself. Well, good. Every hitter should believe in themselves. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in the big leagues. But he is the other guy that I would say, if Rave starts hitting now a little bit, and you only brought Lofton up just to kind of fill in some gaps and just move runners over, and you don't have high expectations with him, and you look at Massey as part of your future can't hit 199 to 205 and be a successful big leaguer for this team. And so I agree with you if that's where you're going. Massey is potentially the other guy that needs to move.
Yeah. How about you? Who gets the call if they were to say, today, tomorrow, Caglianone's here? Who are you sending out?
Yeah, I think if it's right this minute or before tomorrow's game, I don't think it's John Rave, because I don't think you bring that guy up and say 3 days later, didn't work. Now they did that with CJ Alexander, and he looked like he didn't belong in a couple games when he came. Was it just last year? That's correct. I think it was. Yeah, it feels like decades ago for some reason, but I don't think they do that. I think your answer is Massey or Lofton. Now Massey may provide that answer because he got scratched yesterday with an ankle injury, so maybe he's hurt. I don't think.
Or maybe this is the beginning of greasing the skids towards the mystery injury that he then takes a little time to just work in the cages, and then you get the rehab assignment to try to get him going, and you never actually send him down.
Right.
Did
Yeah.
send him down.
Which I thought that might happen with Melendez earlier this year, but it didn't. So the Massey side, I think the Royals have telegraphed their move a little bit by flipping him in India. And India, up until he was spiked, was playing a lot of second base, and then he played it last night again. So it looks like he's back there. It's interesting because now you've kind of greased that wheel with Massey's not an everyday second baseman anymore. India is, and Massey's playing left field. And where's Jac Caglianone probably going to play in the big leagues? The outfield. And so I kind of feel like they might be saying, okay, you got to hit. And if you don't, you're going to be the guy. Now, Lofton's different because I really don't think they see him as part of I think they see him as part of the organizational depth future. So, bring him up. He can be here for a week. We don't care. I could see him going back down pretty quickly. But lefty for lefty, Massey, Caglianone. It just kind of fits the way they're using Massey now, or at least that when India is playing second base, the way they're using Massey, it kind of fits that he might be that guy. Now, if it's in 3 weeks, it very well could be that John Rave has shown he's not a big leaguer, or that Nick Lofton has struggled, and that could change. But today, I think it's Massey if that move would be made right now.
Yeah, we'll see where they end up going. If you have any needs when it comes to insurance, David Starnes Allstate Insurance has you covered. David Starnes Allstate Insurance, serving the Kansas City area and all throughout the Midwest. With David Starnes Allstate, it's not just about fender benders. Beyond traditional safeguards, enjoy perks like roadside assistance for unexpected breakdowns, transportation expense coverage when your car is in the shop, auto replacement protection to keep you on the road in style, and much more. You can give Dave and his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Visit them online or stop into any of their locations, including North Kansas City, Liberty, and Branson, Missouri. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Let's talk some Noah Cameron here. He has been absolutely fantastic. Just the second starting pitcher. I think this is pretty impressive to say the least. Just the second starting pitcher since 1893 with 6 1/3 plus innings and 1 run or less in his first 4 major league appearances. Just the second guy ever. Now, we always like to say that when you put context to the stat, it kind of tells you how important that stat is. Is it an anomaly, or is it something that, wow, you have to be the best of the best to do this? The other guy to do it was Cody Anderson for the Cleveland Guardians in 2015, who finished his career 9-9 with a 4.76 ERA. What is Noah Cameron, Les?
Man, I tell you what, I'm glad he's on my team, because Noah Cameron is that crafty lefty that would keep me up at night, that would make me go under the tunnel and hit the garbage can and break bats. And I kept myself from doing it, but want to punch the wall. You leave, and he's not going to strike a lot of guys out, obviously, but how do you not hit this guy? And then you think you got him figured out. He'll nip that upper outside corner. He'll nip that down and in when you don't see it coming. I mean, as a hitter, it is unbelievably frustrating to hit against him, because you're most likely not going to have success, and it's not going to have success even worse. So it's not like the 290, 280. If you go 1 for 4, 1 for 5 off Noah Cameron, you're considering then that's a good day at the plate against that guy. And so he's deceptive. He's got a little more maybe velocity. I don't know about the younger years of a Jamie Moyer type, but it's just that crafty lefty that you just can't figure it out. So he gets in your head. He makes you chase. So his upside is huge. I mean, I just don't feel like, as I'm watching him pitch, he's lucked his way into 4 starts and has done something that hasn't been done since 1893 and then 2015. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. So I think he has a huge upside. I'm excited every time he gets on the mound, and I want him every day in Kansas City. I think he's another guy that's proven that he belongs here and should stay.
How important are the strikeouts, David? He doesn't get that. He's clearly been very effective. Is this, I like, he wasn't this good in the minor leagues. We don't think he's going to be this good. We don't think anybody's going to be this good. We don't think Chris Bubich is going to continue to do what he's doing. It's brilliant what they've got, right? What they've been able to do to this point. It's clearly something they have to have based upon how their offense is going. So I know ball clubs never want to put a ceiling on a guy, but the fact that he doesn't have that elite swing and miss, certainly you can be a pitch to contact guy, but what do we think the upside is for Noah Cameron once they've really written the scouting report on him and are studying it each week?
Yeah, I mean, look, in today's game, you need to get strikeouts, and he doesn't. So I think that there's what does he have? It's a 16.3%.
Can I ask? Let me because I don't want to go too far from that. Because one of the other things we want to discuss is how important is the strikeout. We listen to Mike Boddicker on A10 get upset about how everybody goes for the strikeout. Everybody gets strikeouts now.
Mm-hmm.
Would you explain why you say you have to get strikeouts?
Well, you don't have to. I think that you can succeed without it, but a batted ball, the batting average on balls in play is, I don't know what it is this year, 290, 294, 286, somewhere in there. It's roughly around that area. You hit a ball, it could be a hit. The whole, everybody remembers that Andy McCullough tweet from 2015, whatever it was. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was the whole point of the 2015 Royals is put the ball in play and hope, and the other team might make a mistake. And that's so true, because if you hit a ball, it can be a hit. Hitting the ball can lead to a runner on first base. A strikeout never does. Well, almost never does. Occasionally you get the wild pitch or pass ball, but
right.
So a strikeout's always an out. Now that doesn't mean weak contact is great, and pitchers, you're not going to get 100% strikeout rate. So you have to be able to get outs on contact. But the point is that every 99.999% of strikeouts are an out, and 71% of batted balls are an out. So it's a big percentage difference. I mean, it's not that you can't succeed, but strikeouts are better than not. And Noah Cameron right now has a 16.3% strikeout rate. And that's largely based on one really good game that he struck out 8. Was that against the Cardinals? I think it was. Yeah. And I'm looking right now since 2021, and I kind of did that just to filter out 2020 because 60 games is such a small sample. There have been 14 qualified starters with a 16.3% strikeout rate or lower. And I should probably filter out 2025 because it's a small sample as well. So it's actually less than that because there are a couple in 2025. It's actually 6. The lowest ERA of that group is 4.13, which was Marco Gonzalez, who might be an interesting comp for Noah Cameron. Crafty lefty, doesn't get strikeouts, gets a lot of weak contact. I think, first of all, I think there's more in the tank on the strikeouts because I think the stuff outside of the four-seamer plays really well, and I think he'll grow into some whiffs there. But there is a ceiling. I think when you're putting that many balls in play, there is a ceiling. I mean, I didn't look at the exit velocity numbers, but I would bet his average allowed on hard hit balls is probably lower than average. That's just my guess. I mean, eye test. You see a lot of balls hit right at people, and some of that's great defensive positioning and all that. But I think he's going to need to get more strikeouts if you want to see more. I think the ceiling is a 3 or 4 starter, which is super valuable.
Yeah,
super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there is a ceiling there, and you ride the hot streak, and that's great. But I'd like to see more whiffs, and to that point, he got them in AAA, which maybe shows the gap between AAA and the majors again. But he had like a 32% strike or 28.6% strikeout rate in AAA. Last year in AAA, 29% strikeout rate. In AA, it was 27%. He's gotten strikeouts. I'm not saying he can't, but if he doesn't, there is a ceiling on him.
Yeah. By the way, Renee says trade Noah for a bat now. Right? Like they do need a bat. This is one of the things we've talked about. Curtis says, in his opinion, it's lack of strikeouts, that allows him to go deeper into games. I mean, if he is more pitch efficient getting to the outs, David's right, Les, that, strikeouts are a 0 batting average. So you'd love to get him if you can't get him, but does that make him the pitch to contact guy, make him maybe that much more effective because everybody else does get strikeouts today? That maybe that's what he is. He's an innings eater. He's a traditional back of the rotation type of guy, and he's a different look, which maybe makes him even more important to this rotation because he is, pitching to contact and forcing guys to swing the bats, where other times, Cole Reagan's is completely different approach that you're going to have to take when he's in there.
Absolutely. Sticking him in the middle of the lineup. I mean, imagine sandwiching him between a guy like Waka, Reagans, and Lugo. You got power pitchers. You got pitchers that throw a lot of different pitches. They're still different, but yet they're strikeout pitchers. They'll come at you. They'll make you look silly. And then all of a sudden you got a guy that's a little bit softer that comes in. It can really mess up an opposing lineup because you're going to one of those guys, then you're going to Cameron, and then you're going to a different guy. And if he starts off a series or finishes a series, there's still that transition from one style of pitcher to another. And I often talk about the pendulum swing and the chess match of baseball in the major leagues where, okay, you do well as a hitter, and then they scout you, and then they read you, and then it swings back to the other side. Okay, now they figure you out. Now it's your job to swing the pendulum back to the other side. A guy like Noah Cameron is really hard to get that pendulum swinging that way because he's really hard to figure out. You can see what he can do, and when you have a good catcher behind the plate, they can kind of do that in-flight pendulum swing where they're making adjustments, so we're going to go now pitch backwards, or we're going to pitch frontwards for 2 times in the order and then pitch backwards. So I understand the importance of strikeouts. I get that. But again, I was talking with somebody the other day, and Maddox had his strikeouts as well. And I'm not comparing Noah Cameron to Greg Maddox, but the point I'm trying to make is once Greg Maddox threw a 9-inning complete game on 76 pitches, I mean, that's ridiculously efficient. And at 76 pitches in a complete game, you're not getting a lot of strikeouts. You're getting a lot of ground balls. You're getting a lot of flyouts. And I don't know the conditions. I don't know if that was at Wrigley Field or the wind was blowing in or whatever that was. But the point I'm trying to make is efficiency may not be the big thing in the major leagues now, but it can throw a wrinkle into an offensive lineup in the middle of the series. And the last thing I'll say is I hated facing guys like this, not because I lacked confidence. They're going to give me something to hit. The problem is that once I face a guy like that and I'm chasing or I push off my back leg or it forces me to have head movement as I'm swinging, now all of a sudden that's going to jack me up a little bit and maybe make me go into a slump. And that gets into my head as well. So it's not just what you're seeing there, it's what goes on in the head and what goes on in just the timing. Timing is everything in hitting. And a guy like Noah Cameron really can mess you up. So it'll be interesting to see as other teams try to make that adjustment if they're really able to then apply that with a lineup.
Yeah, I agree. And, he is a godsend this year, right, for this team with 2 guys going down to be able to have him. This is ultimately what you're trying to accomplish, right? You're trying to be able to where you have the answer in your system, and he has been that answer. And what do you do when the other guys come back? We'll get into that after you hear from our sponsors.
Green Light Dispensary, voted Kansas City's best dispensary and your go-to for quick, convenient service. With 4 locations across the Kansas City area, we're never far away. Our drive-through and express windows make it easy to get in, get out, and get on with your day. Our award-winning service is powered by a team of experts dedicated to making your experience seamless and enjoyable. It's no wonder we've been voted the best. Convenient locations, fast service, knowledgeable staff. That's the Green Light difference. Visit us today.
Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. All right, let's talk about it. What do they do when they get back Cole Reagans, when they get back Seth Lugo? Like, is David a 6-man rotation where this is going? Is, Cameron just back to the minors and it sucks for you, young man? You've been great, but everybody else is in front of you. Is it Michael Lorenzen goes back to the bullpen? What's the answer when they get everybody back?
Yeah, I think that they send him down. And I don't know if I agree with that or not. Honestly, I understand it, though, because think about it's all about context, right? If Kyle Wright was healthy, if Alec Marsh was healthy, if Rich Hill was built up, if Steven Zobak hadn't gotten hurt and had progressed to AAA, you might look at that AAA team and say, okay, they've got options. They can put Michael Lorenzen in the bullpen, run with Noah Cameron, because I think Cameron has earned the right to stay in the big leagues. I mean, he obviously has. The numbers are there. The problem is you need guys stretched out. We've been watching it for the last 2 weeks. They needed depth, and they didn't have enough of it because they had to throw 2 bullpen games. So you can't take away that depth, right? I at least understand the rationale that they don't want to take away that depth right now, and so they need to keep a 6th guy built up at this point. Now, Rich Hill is in AAA. I don't know how much you want to believe in Rich Hill at 45 years old, but he's defied odds for a long time. So maybe he can be that guy. Kyle Wright did throw a rehab start last week, and I think he's got another one. It might be today, maybe tomorrow. I can't remember when he's pitching again, but he also threw 13 pitches the first time out. Like, he's not there. Alec Marsh hasn't thrown a competitive pitch this season. Luinder Avila is on the shelf now for a while. I think you've got to keep 6 guys stretched out. So then it becomes, do you go to a 6-man rotation or send Noah Cameron down because nobody else is really a candidate for that? And the problem with the 6-man rotation over the next month is they have 1 off day a week. You go to a 6-man rotation and guys are only throwing once a week. That could be good or bad. I don't know. It depends on what they feel. Maybe Seth Lugo doesn't want to pitch once a week and would struggle if he didn't get his typical 4 or 5 days of rest, and he gets 6 days of rest every week. Maybe Michael Walker would struggle. These veterans are so routine oriented that you just don't know. And so, I mean, I think that short of knowing that, I think that it makes sense a little bit to send Cameron down, even if I still honestly don't know if I agree with it.
Yeah. How about it, Les? I mean, he is, we're talking about a guy in Noah Cameron, the second Royal to begin his career with at least 4 straight quality starts. This one, the name is a little bit better. Steve Busby, who was electric, threw a couple of no-hitters in his career. So that's pretty good company. What do you do? I mean, doesn't part of it have to do with what the conversation was when Michael Lorenzen was signed? Like, if they're going to send him down, that should be something that they prepped him for when they signed him, right? That it came around. If he was told, you're in the rotation, if you're healthy, you're in the rotation, then this gets a little bit stickier.
Yeah, again, I was at the game this week and just watch him pitch against the Reds. Now, on his side of it, it was rainy, it was cold. I'm sure the footing wasn't easy because it literally just spit rain the entire game. I mean, it spit rain on the way to the game. At the end of the game, it was still spitting rain. So those are not ideal conditions for an elite athlete to pitch in. I completely get that. But he's been the inconsistent pitcher. I think he's 3-6 now, and his ERA is pushing 5. So, David, you had mentioned too about how pitchers, sometimes don't like to pitch only once a week or disrupt their whole movement of how they do things and their routine. That is a big deal to a pitcher, a big deal. And you're going to tell a guy like Cole Reagans, who's a competitor, but veterans like Lugo and Waka that, hey, we're now going to go to a 6-man rotation, and so you're just going to get another day's rest. They don't like another day rest because their arm feels different. They've got their routine, so you're going to have to institute an extra day of running, an extra day of long toss in the middle. I mean, something that is different. And these guys are near the end of their careers, still in the good side in the productive years of the end of their career. They're not 23, 24 anymore. And so I feel like if you inject that 6-man rotation, it's not going to go well. But for me, Soren, you remember last week when you corrected me and you said, hey, it's 54 games now. There's no more. It's still early, right? I mean, now is the time, and now's the time you're going to win. I mean, the Tigers, that series is coming up. There's 17 games over 500. And I think we're, 3 today, 2 or 3. And so the time is now to start making the adjustments. And if Noah Cameron is doing what he's doing, and Lorenzen's 3-6 and seemingly slowly getting worse a little bit, you don't have really time to wait anymore. And so for me, again, I know I'm kind of the inside looking out, but for me, it's move Lorenzen to the bullpen, and then we can talk about if him, then who else is going to move out of there? That's fine. But right now, I feel like Noah Cameron has earned that spot in the rotation after 4 starts. What else can you do? I know guys get sent down because they have options left, but again, I've got that bitterness in my heart still about just because a guy has an option left, If he's dealing in the big leagues, he's helping you win games, then leave him there. I mean, imagine what he could do if this offense was scoring 5-6 runs a game. So I'm against the 6-man. I think Noah Cameron should stay. I'd put Lorenzen in the bullpen. He's smart enough, has enough veteran leadership that he'd be able to function well there.
What does that do to the chemistry of the clubhouse, right? I mean, Lorenzen needs to be on board, right? You don't need Lorenzen pouting and not liking Noah Cameron because Cameron gets – I mean, it is important for everybody to be on with the direction they go. You need everybody to be on board because, as you mentioned, there's 7 games back behind the Detroit Tigers. Got a big series coming up. We're not talking about this doesn't have to happen now, but it's going to be pretty soon. You have to make a decision. And, you're still trying to fix some things. You don't need a little, a little war going on in your clubhouse either.
Right. You don't. And that's a great point. And that can happen. I don't think this is a clubhouse or a team that would happen. It doesn't seem like Lorenzen is that guy. He's a veteran. And when you're making, I think he's making $7 million this year. I mean, $7 million as a starter, $7 million in the bullpen, you're still doing pretty well for yourself. And I know he wants to figure it out and he's got the credibility to give him certain opportunities to do that. But again, the second year of his contract is a $1.5 million buyout. I mean, if they want him next year, it's $12 million, but they could buy him out for $1.5 million. And so that's something on the backside that lets Lorenzen know, hey, we trust in you. We're rewarding you. However, there's still some possibilities that with using the words without using the words, the way the contract is structured, there could be a bullpen move. There could be a release you from your contract move. Now, I don't think they're going to release him. We're not at that point. But again, just because a young guy comes up, I think if he's smart enough and mature enough, there shouldn't be that situation. What you should do is you should step alongside and mentor the kid and help him along and just understand that that's baseball.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it is a problem, right?
Yeah.
People love that phrase, but it is a problem, David, that they have to get right.
Yeah. And look, Lorenzen has had moments this year for sure, but in May he struggled. I mean, his 5.34 ERA, the last start on Monday was rough. He wasn't terrible in San Francisco, got a loss, only gave up 2 earned runs, but as partially on the offense. But yeah, I mean, he struggled. He's pitched in the bullpen before, so it's not like it's new for him. I think his stuff probably plays better in the bullpen than Cameron's. He's got the changeup that can get all those whiffs. He's got a curve that does really well. His fastball, if you get the typical bump, he's averaging about 94.5 on the fastball. Does that go to 96? That in middle relief, you get a guy who can give you 2 innings. That's helpful. I think Lorenzen works in the bullpen, and I think that's what I would do. I don't think the depth is as important. The starting pitching depth is as important as the Royals will put an emphasis on it. But like I said, I understand why they do. Obviously, we've seen why they've needed to this a couple weeks, but I think that it makes sense to me that Lorenzen goes to the bullpen, and I also think you look at this rotation. Cole Reagans might need another break at some point. He might have another groin injury. Chris Bubich has thrown 70 innings the last 2 years, 70 competitive innings in the last 2 seasons. Maybe I might even be off on that. That might be low, or that might be high. You might want to say, hey, we're gonna back off him the week before the All-Star break, the week after. There are opportunities for starts. I mean, I think that they could still get 6 guys 20 plus starts, and I think that Noah Cameron's earned his spot. I don't think he's going to keep it. I think that they're going to send him down, and like I said, I get the rationale. I think that he's earned it, and he should stay there.
Yeah, I would agree. We mentioned John Rave. He gets the call up. He gets his first hit out of the way. First, always great to see a guy get his first hit in the big leagues. That can never be taken away from him, whatever his career ends up being. He's a big leaguer that got a hit. But what does that do for maybe him being able to maximize all his talents?
Oh, gosh. I mean, when you're up there watching the way he was getting pitched, he was seeing a lot of balls in the dirt. A lot of change-ups, a lot of breaking balls, fastballs off the plate away, because a lot of young guys, they chase just because they're not thinking about, okay, I'm in the big leagues now. They're going to pitch me different. I'm looking zone, all those things. What they're thinking about is, man, I just want to get this hit because everybody's making a big deal out of it. I want to get my first big league hit. It's a big deal. I am so thankful that in my second at bat, I got my first big league hit. Now, it might have had a 42-mile-an-hour exit velocity because it was a blooper into left center field. But after that, it was just something different. It cleared my mind to now be able to go, okay, now I can go ahead and look at pitches, work on my timing. Even though if he throws a strike, it's a pitcher's pitch, not a hitter's pitch. Right now, there's that pressure. But when you get that first big league hit, now he can start to learn how to hit. Now, again, I'm not saying that he's going to hit like he was in AAA and hitting home runs and driving the baseball. He very well might. He's earned the opportunity. Let's just say that. But it completely clears your mind now to look in zones, look at pitches, feed the situation, be confident when you're up at the plate. There's something about that mental block that when you have something else to think about, the mental side of hitting is hard enough, let alone when you've got that monkey on your back. And so now John Rave can enjoy hitting. Now John Rave can go up there and be that big league hitter and earn his stripes and do all the things that you need to do with less to think about. You become a better hitter when your mind is not active. I call it caveman dumb. If you can be caveman dumb when you're going up to the plate, you're able to apply what you've learned without thinking about it. It's all reaction. It's all zones. It's all hands. It's just so many things. And when you pile that other stuff on, it's just near impossible unless the guy grooves it. And we can see he didn't get a pitch really to hit until he hit that double.
Best case scenario for John Rave is what, David?
David DeJesus. I mean,
yeah.
that type of player
I had. Yeah.
Type of player he is. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs, but I think that you can look at a guy who 270, 280, 330 to 350 on base, 400 to 420 slug. I mean, I think John Rave has the tools to be a solid player. I think it's interesting. I feel like Hunter Green did him a favor with that fastball because, like, to your point, Les, you don't have time to react to a slider or a splitter. It's 99, swing the bat, hit the ball, go to second base because it's coming in so hard. You don't even have a chance to think about it. I think that if everything works out well, that's a guy who is a third outfielder on a team, which is a starter. There are 3 outfielders, and he's shown that the speed is there. He's a good defender. I thought his arm was a little better than what he showed, but also, the conditions haven't been amazing over the first couple of games of the Red Series. So maybe the ball was slick. I don't know, but if he can hit a little bit, there's a spot for him on a big league team. It may not be a third outfielder, maybe a fourth or fifth outfielder, but he can run for people, and the Royals have guys to run for. That's for sure on this roster. He can go in on defense, and the Royals outfield defense is not always great. And when Caglianone comes up, if he's playing outfield, he might leave a game in the 8th inning. And Rave's that guy who can do that. I mean, there's a spot for him, and I think the ceiling is you can be a bottom of the order or an older school leadoff hitter with his skill set. I don't know if he'll get there, but I think that's the ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, I think you go ahead.
Sorry, Ren. All I was going to say was it's a good gig if you can get it. With the minimum big league salary pushing $800,000 this year, nothing wrong with a 7-8 hole hitter being a 4th or 5th outfielder in the big leagues.
Yeah, no, it's a good deal for almost all of us to be a big leaguer. Does the performance of the pitching, right? The hope is that Jac Caglianone is going to step in and he's going to make a big impact here at some point in the very near future. But if that doesn't solve it all, if Salvi doesn't get turned around, if all these different things that we think could still get better on their own, are they obligated to make a move because of how good this pitching is, that it's historic? And I've heard some people say, well, it's if you squander this pitching, it's criminal. Or is JJ Piccolo going to squander this pitching? How much, when your pitching is this good, is it a reason to maybe extend more this year less and give up more resources? Because you feel like, one, it is amazing, and two, if we can pitch this good, then we're pretty salty. If we get to the postseason, we could actually go someplace. It's not just a thanks for coming participation ribbon. You can feel like we can pitch with anybody. We've got a chance to really do some damage. How much does that put pressure on them to add to this team, to fix the offense and give up maybe some of the future to do it right now?
Well, I feel like, this whole lightning in a bottle, how amazing this pitching staff has been. How long is that going to last? I mean, it's not a doom and gloom mentality, but again, you have these guys for a couple of years, but that doesn't mean they're going to be that good next year or the year after that as well. So it's promising that you have some young guys like a Noah Cameron coming up, but that still doesn't guarantee anything. You've got an incredible pitching staff right now. I mean, one of the best in the big leagues, not just in the division, one of the best in the major leagues, but you have an offense that is so darn bad right now, like record in Kansas City bad. And so I do feel like they're obligated to do something, whether that's Jac coming up or Jac coming up and buying another bat. I mean, I feel like you're doing a disservice to what this pitching staff has done, plus your 2 or 3 guys that are actually hitting the ball pretty consistently, and that's your only reliable people offensively. So I feel like it does put a little pressure. I mean, it depends on the word you want to use, but I think pressure is a good word. It does put pressure on the front office to do something to complement this pitching staff, because what kind of message does it send if you don't, and then you call Jac up, but then the offense still sputters like it does? I mean, yes, they're serious about winning. Is this team going to win the World Series? Well, it's possible. They're not out of it. They can get hot at the end of the season. Is it likely? Probably not, but yet they're still not out of it. And so I feel like the now is you got to get a bat outside the organization or something to bolster this already good pitching staff. So the word I would use, like you said, pressure. Yes, absolutely. I think they should buy and get a bat now.
Yeah. How about you? Just, David, make it more that they have to do this year.
Yes.
Which I say that I know every fan's answer is yes, because that's every fan's answer. If you're 7 out with 12 to go before the deadline, every fan's answer is you got to go make this team better.
Right.
Big picture, real baseball. Is it worth putting your foot on the gas and maybe sacrificing something? Because, hey, it is all. And we've just sat here and said we don't think Noah Cameron's going to keep pitching this well. You know, Chris Bubich's numbers will have a regression back to the mean. I mean, he may very well be top 5, top 3. Maybe he's going to win the Cy Young. As Bradford Doolittle said, he was the Cy Young winner right now in the American League. ESPN's Bradford Doolittle, former Star Rider. You know, so I mean, it is, you know, like we're not saying it's going to fall apart and they're going to stink, but there will be a regression back to the mean. And if they regress a little bit and the offense isn't better, they've got real problems. But does that, you know, accentuate? Hey, they have to do something.
Yeah, look, they're in every game because of the pitching. And I put this in today's newsletter. They've won 13 games with 3 runs or fewer this year, which is a pace of 37 for the season. The record is 38. So I don't know if that's a good record or a bad record to hold. I mean, winning is good, yes, but also maybe just score more. Maybe you don't have to win those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking at this right now. In the last 4 years, not including 2015 or 2025, obviously, there have been 5 teams to have a 3.30 ERA or lower. The lowest win total was the 2022 Yankees at 99. These pitching staffs don't come around all the time. And when they do, you've got to win 95 plus. I don't know. They don't need to win 99 games. They need to make the playoffs with it. And I think that they've got to add a bat. And the beauty of it is, and this is a much bigger conversation, we can get into it closer to the deadline, but the beauty of it is I don't think they have to go out and get a stud, which is good because there aren't any on the market. So that's helpful. They need average. They don't need they
need average if some of the other things get better that are supposed to get better.
But even if they don't, because look what they're running out there every day, 7 and 8. You know, they're Isbell's going to hit 9th, and I think that's fine. And he is what he is. I think he's the on base isn't there, but he's figured out how to get some hits with the bunts and all that. We've talked about that. But if you can drop, Michael Massey needs to get better or go.
We lost you there, David, audio wise.
Am I back?
Yeah. A little different sounding, but you're back.
I'm fixing it. Hang on.
Okay. Stop waving your hands around, David.
I know.
You hit buttons when you do it.
I switched to the computer. It's easier this way.
Okay.
So Michael Massey either needs to get better or go away. That's whatever. But the point is, if you can raise the floor of this offense, even if nobody gets better, even if nobody else gets better, but you just replace 2 guys who didn't, I think that you can win a lot more games. They don't need to score 5.5 runs per game. They need to score 4.2 runs per game, and they're run off from that right now. I think they're averaging like 3.26. They need to average a run more per game and still be bottom half of the league.
And then that's why I mentioned you mentioned Kyle Isbell. Salvador Perez is batting in the middle of this lineup. Like, I mean, I know we all want to think that they're just like, they just need to fill out that one spot where they have a hole. This isn't last year where it was just a leadoff spot that wasn't producing. Like, they have almost an entire team of guys who are underachieving. Frankly, let's mention this. Bobby Witt is not the same Bobby Witt from last year. Right. You know, his numbers are fine, and we all know that July and August are when he gets red hot. And so those numbers are going to get boosted, and he's going to carry the team, and that will be big. But again, in the context of what I asked was, because the pitching's so good, do you have to go do it? And I think that the answer may be less. If somebody else, like, it might not be about the pitching continuing to be so good. Like, that's all great, and we don't want to squander that. But to David's point, if there isn't, like, Juan Soto would be a great bat to drop into this lineup. Like, they need a 4-hitter. They need Vinny to hit better. They need Bobby to hit better. They need, like, Maikel Garcia is the only guy, right? Am I missing anybody who's coming in above expectations right now? So they need so many things. Is the reality that they need a lot of other things to get better hitting wise before they can say, we're going to green light this. Otherwise, we're not going to hit well enough. It doesn't matter that the pitching's so good. This will just be throwing away our future because we don't have enough. Is it on the rest of the hitters to hit better to make it worthwhile, to where David's right, just one guy does finish off the whole lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and I like the fact that you put that there as well. I mean, Garcia is the only one above expectations, and people are going to hate me for saying this, but it's right, and you kind of alluded to the point. Bobby Witt Jr. right now will get hot, but right now he's not. He's on a decline. He's still doing well. He had a hit last night, had a couple RBIs, and Bobby Witt's decline is better than most major leaguers. Let's just go ahead and say that right now. I mean, he's just that good, and he has spoiled us with how good he is. But again, you know, I just feel like while you were talking about that, I want to just go ahead. My wife tells me I'm too blunt. I say what I think too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that right now. When you said that about hitters, they just need to start hitting. Well, they know that. And so is that then we're talking about adding a bat? We're talking about the pitching and how good they are. Well, is a new face on the hitting coach? Does it come back to that? Does that change need to be made? Now, again, I'll say it over and over. I'm not about somebody losing their job. I want them to keep their livelihood. But I think, David, you had mentioned it earlier. Does he go back to the minor leagues, or does he go back to doing that? I mean, he's good at what he does, but sometimes you've got to have a different face and a different voice. So I'm only bringing that point up because if you don't buy and you really want to focus on this lineup, then a change has got to be made, because we're now just past a third of the way into the season, and we don't see a big change. So look, there's 7 games out right now. Are we playing just to try to win the wild card, which means we're not just competing with the Guardians and we're not just competing with the Twins. Now we're competing with every second place team in the American League, two other ones. And so now you're competing against 4 for second place. Is that really what we want to do? Is that really what we're set up to be? And so, again, my perspective on this is just simply, you've got to go get a bat. You've got to make changes. And if it's a hitting coach, if it's Jack coming up now because he doesn't have anything else to prove, I may be off your point, but I keep coming back to this, that they have to buy. They have to do something right now. This whole delay of a game or 2 or 3, to me, is an absolute waste. And look, we have a good clubhouse. You mentioned this before. It's a situation where even though you have mature guys, what message does it send to your pitching staff that you're not making an adjustment? To go out there every day knowing that I have to throw a shutout or only give up 1 or 2 runs maximum, or I'm going to have a 3.4 ERA at the end of the year, but I'm going to be 5-17. You know, I mean, that sends a poor message too, because it doesn't have to be that way. So these changes just have to be made, and it is going to continue to be frustrating for Royals fans if not.
Yeah, I think so as well. But they need, like, look, they're kind of teetering right there. They're not in the wild card slot right now. They're only 1 game out, but they're teetering right there, and they just need to play better. They need to inspire the front office. They need to inspire ownership to put more into this year's roster. So it is important that they play better. Listen, always important to protect yourself. Great insurance is available. David Starnes, Allstate Insurance, has got you covered. Give his crew a call at 816-781-7331. Our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete with free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warranty. You can find them online at GannAsphalt.com. And if you've been hurt in an accident, Northland Injury Law has you covered. Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers. Serving Kansas City for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT. For David Lesky from Inside the Crown, Les Norman from Breaking the Norm, and of course, former Kansas City Royals Major League outfielder. My name is Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast.